you are sabotaging your diet by ignoring your food addiction. You don't even acknowledge that you have an addiction because you call it cravings, right? And you lie to yourself by saying things like, I just like berries or dark chocolate, despite overeating them by 4 servings every time. But do you really love garbage more than you love your health, right? Because it isn't just about packing on the pounds. You're actually ruining your health. You're damaging your body, and you're risking getting things like PCOS, diabetes, and heart disease. And it's also stopping you from enjoying your social life because you're always wondering, like, what are people thinking about me? How are they seeing me? You're worried about your appearance. And I know this because I was there, right? I was where you are. I remember telling myself that it didn't matter what I weighed as long as I was having fun, right? And that sentence opened the absolute wrong door for me, right? Because, well, first of all, I did start having fun. So I'm not going to say that I didn't. That was an unlock. I did a lot of things with my daughter, right? We went ski top trekking. That's when you're climbing through the trees. And she was only 4 years old when we started doing that, right? And then we also went skiing together, and I bought her a little pair of rollerblades, and we went rollerblading together and cycling together. And she and I had a lot of fun together. But keep in mind, I'm not worrying about what she thinks of me, right? I'm not worrying about how she sees me, because I know she loves me, right? But every year, when it was time to go to the water park, different story, right? I was self-conscious. I was uncomfortable. I still had the idea in my head that I didn't want people seeing how fat I was, right? I didn't want them judging me. And there was another problem that also came from this have fun no matter what attitude that I had, is that it gave me like this permission to eat food for fun, right? Like I could just eat junk because I have fun at whatever cost. And that's exactly what food companies want from us, Wellness Warrior, right? Their focus is on how delicious the garbage is. And we don't realize that that delicious food is actually ruining our health, right? It's interior on the inside, it's making us sick. It's creating like these poor quality versions of us. We're weaker. I was exhausted all the time. My skin wasn't doing that well. My hair wasn't doing well. I'm sure lots of you have that. It's just silently, internally, we're developing illness and ruining our bodies. So here's something that we don't think about. Emotional eating isn't only about eating when we're upset, right? When we're at a party or there's a holiday or we're on vacation and we're thinking, like we're getting our food, or even when we're thinking about these, like when we think about these things, what food do we think about, right? We're thinking about the fun food we get to eat, right? We're thinking about the cake at the birthday. That's emotional eating. We celebrate with food, and that's emotional eating, Wellness Warrior. And we don't let ourselves really think about the fact that it's not just when we're sad that we do these things. When we have nothing to do, right? When we are bored, we eat to pass the time. That's emotional eating. So if I'm constantly eating because I'm feeling something, that's not about hunger. That's not about giving my body energy. It's not about giving my body building blocks, right? That's about me having fun with food. But what about when we are actually hungry, right? Like I've heard the saying, like, don't go shopping when you're hungry, because then you're going to put a bunch of stupidness in your cart. You're going to buy more food. You're going to buy things you don't need just because you're hungry. You see them and you want them because you're hungry. But we make our dinner plates when we're hungry, So doesn't that mean that there's more chance that we put, first of all, more on our plate? But second of all, maybe more of the stuff that's not the best for our health on our plate? So when we're eating keto, right, that could lead to us putting more of the carby stuff on our plate and kicking us out of ketosis, right? And if I get myself kicked out of ketosis, well, then my body isn't actually doing the thing I need it to do, right? Because if I'm not in ketosis, I'm now in storage mode. And if I'm in storage mode, that's not good for me if I'm trying to lose weight. And since it takes like a metabolically challenged person anywhere between 2 and 4 days to get back into ketosis, well, that's absolutely going to stall my diet, right? I'm not in a ketogenic state. I'm no longer burning fat for fuel. I'm stalling my diet, possibly even putting back weight on my body. I'm not going to be a happy person. If you cheat on the weekend, that means that it could take you somewhere between Thursday to Friday before you get back into ketosis, before your body is back to doing what's healthy for you. But what's happening by Friday? Well, maybe Saturday is the next day and we're back on a cheat day. So maybe I get 1 day in ketosis versus how many days? Right? No, 3 days in ketosis versus that 1 or 2 day. So I end up spending more time not in ketosis than I end up in ketosis in the course of a week if 4 of my days is how many days it takes me to get back in after I cheat. Because most people, they don't just cheat one thing on Saturday. They usually cheat Saturday and Sunday. So now we're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe I'm back in ketosis Friday. And then, do you see the problem? It's Saturday again. We're not giving our bodies enough time to do the thing it's trying to do, to put us in the healthy place that we want to be in. And all of this because the food that we're paying attention to, right? We're paying attention to the tasty flavors. We need to understand that the carb count of the foods we eat are super important, but the garbage that we usually have, and even if we don't have garbage, like what if we have strawberries? But if I overeat my strawberries by 4 times the amount, could I put myself out of ketosis? Especially if I still have supper to have, and I still have, if I eat a lunch, maybe I'm doing 2 meals, maybe I'm doing 3 meals. If every time I go to eat, I'm putting a little bit extra on my plate, I'm putting a little extra on my plate, even if it's broccoli at one meal and peppers at another meal, I still could end up kicking myself out. So paying attention to the carb number absolutely contradicts what we've been told about, calories and the importance of calories. I want us to understand that if we keep letting ourselves use old data to try to solve a problem that old data never solved, we're going to be in trouble. I still hear people who are doing a keto diet worrying and focusing on the calorie count, more so even sometimes than the carb count, willing to put more carb on their plate and less meat on their plate so that the calorie number works out to the number that they're aiming at. And I want us to understand that that's a bad idea. Before I found keto, I made several attempts to lose weight using that calorie model, right? And I lost. I did lose weight. I'm not going to say I didn't, but I put it right back on because I was eating such high carb foods. There was no way that I wouldn't be hungry all the time. Now, today I know that I had a metabolic issue, right? That And okay, how did I even know that I had a metabolic issue? How did I figure that out? Well, when you start doing the research to understand, well, what are the signs that you have metabolic problems? Was I like shocked to find out that the first one was being overweight? So the fact that I was fat was already telling me that I had a metabolic problem. Okay, what was the second one that I learned? Inflammation. Well, I had joint pain that I found out was an inflammation problem. Large midsection. How many people have a big midsection, even if they are close to their normal weight, even if they are so thin everywhere else, but they have a big midsection? Well, guess what? If you have a large midsection, it means that you probably have fatty liver disease. And that, yes, both of those are indications that you have a metabolic problem. And fatty liver disease is a scary scenario because you're a step away from actually having like serious problems in your health, like serious problems, like damage. And we walk around with these large midsections as if it's no big deal, wellness warrior. And I'm so trying to get us all to just understand metabolic issues are health issues. Another thing that tells you that you have a metabolic issue is that you're always hungry. Okay, so can we just stop and think about this for a second? I'm eating this diet that's putting me in a situation where maybe I might lose some weight, but I'm extremely hungry. And why is that happening? So can we just pause there and even think about, why am I losing weight, but I'm extremely hungry? Well, usually on a normal calorie restriction diet, you're still eating a lot of carb. The carb is the thing. The carb is the problem. So even though I'm initially losing weight, since the carbs are the problem, my insulin is now it's been out of regulation because I found out because I was overweight that I had metabolic issues. And so high insulin is another sign that you have. There's so many signs that you have metabolic issues that we don't pay attention to or we don't know about. Right? But high insulin means that any excess sugar that you take in will prompt storage. So I lose weight initially, but then it stabilizes and then it starts to inch its way back up because too much sugar is still coming in for my body. And so therefore it's in storage mode. Now, if I do that, I'm going to end up getting hungry. This is because if insulin is too high, out of balance, then all of my energy, my other hormones, first of all, will be out of balance. But the energy that I ate, because it came along with so much carb, my body's in storage mode, it got stored. So now what's happening? I'm hungry again because I actually need more energy because my body's stored. Do you see how upside down all of this is when you try to do it based on a calorie model? And when my hormones are out of whack, that's all of them, which means my ghrelin and leptin, which control the balance of when I want to eat, ghrelin, and when I'm feeling satiated, leptin. I believe that's how that goes, if I said them correctly. But they're out of balance. So I'm not being told to stop eating when I should be told to stop eating and to go get food because everything, you actually feel hungry because your hormones are pushing you to eat. You know, we grew up in a world that was telling us that we were just, these greedy, right? You're just greedy. You just want, but there's a part of it that's real. Your body is sending you to get food. So what am I actually supposed to do, right? Especially when you think about the times where there's a holiday, a party, or a vacation. What am I supposed to do? I'm faced with these fun foods at these events, right? And there's a part of my brain that used to say, I shouldn't have to eat healthy, right? Because if I eat healthy, I'm not going to have fun. And this is a party, and parties are we think this way. We think that the only way to have fun is to eat junky food because that's what we've been taught. But I want us to pause and think about other places where we've kind of been led to believe that certain things are just normal, right? But we know that it's not what we want in our life. Like how many people would actually accept the excuse of, well, I was at a party and I just wanted to have fun, if what their spouse had done was cheat at the party, right? Or they were on a vacation without you and they cheated on the party. Would that be an okay excuse to say, but I was on vacation? How did you expect me not to sleep with somebody else? You weren't there, right? Absolutely not. We'd be hurt by that, right? Why don't we accept and acknowledge that we're hurting ourselves when we say, oh, but it's a party, so I'm going to do the thing that's not good for me, right? Because we go to these parties and we cheat on our diets, which is cheating on ourselves. Why do we do it? We do it because the outcome is not immediate. That's why we do it. We are actually eating foods that we know are going to result in weight gain, physical pain, potential life-threatening diseases. But the party food becomes more important. Being like everybody else becomes more important, right? People not guessing that I'm on a diet. Honest warrior, I was 70 pounds overweight. If I wasn't on a diet, I should have been on a diet. But that's more important. And so I eat the junky food. We aren't being honest with ourselves or realistic with ourselves about the impact of our behavior on our health, right? We're in denial. We're pretending it's not real. We're pretending it's not going to happen, right? I'm never going to get sick. Yes, you will. Because I did. Because I'm human. So you will, at some point, get sick if we don't change this behavior. And the part that sucks is that we've often seen the difference. A lot of us have lost weight. And especially if you've done keto, you've lost it in a healthy way. And when we lost the weight, we also had a reduction in pain, right? We had an improvement in our blood pressure or whatever issue we were struggling with. And then we act like eating the garbage won't impact us. Like those problems aren't going to come back. And so we eat the garbage and our weight comes back. Our blood pressure's out of whack again, right? The pain issues return. It is so scary to me, Wellness Warrior, because I've known so many friends who've given keto a try. And life is getting better. They're losing weight. They're feeling better. They're sleeping better. Their mental clarity. I mean, I can go on and on. All the positives that you get from eating healthy. And then they go back to the garbage only to a few months or even a few years later to be diagnosed with some type of metabolic issue that's going to ruin their life, right? And what happens at that point? They're scared. They're scared. They don't know what to do. Do I take a chance on keto again? Or do I take this medication or usually it's a medication that the doctor's offering you. They don't offer you anything else. And now I'm stuck. I'm struggling, right? And as much as we want to have gotten the results we got results in the past. I don't even say we wanted to. We did. We got results in the past. But now, because I didn't follow through, now because I didn't stick with it, I'm doubting. I'm not only doubting the diet itself, but I'm doubting, can I do it again? Because, okay, so here's the other thing. If we don't acknowledge that this is an addiction, and because we don't acknowledge this is an addiction, what we're not letting ourselves see is, if I let go of my addiction, but then let it back in my life, when I try to let it go the second time, it's harder. The third time, it's even harder. The fourth time, oh my gosh, it's like every time that I've known people who let go of whether it was drinking, smoking, whatever else, food, each time they try to go back to the good behavior, their length of time in the good behavior is shorter and shorter until they finally realize that this is an addiction and I need to treat it as such. If I let myself cheat, it's not going to go well, right? I have to be honest with myself that the answer is staying with the healthy eating full time, right? And so maybe this person's going to say, okay, I'm going to try the good diet again because I'm afraid of the medication. But now there's this new question. What if my diagnosis moves faster than my diet, right? What if I can't get my body back to that good place before the illness gets me? It's friggin' scary. This word here is it's scary. And if we actually start taking that medication, we're in another huge problem because the food has a huge impact on how your medication works. So your medication might be too strong and cause other kind of problems. There is like so much that we need to focus on when it comes to health. There's so many layers and levels. That's why doctors go to school to be a doctor for so long, because it's complicated. And yet, when we're not sick, it's easy. It's simple. You eat the right foods, your body gives you good health. We are not letting ourselves see that because the addiction is so strong. And before you take any medication, by the way, you should really be clear with yourself that that's the answer. But the flip side of the coin is if you're taking medication and you can't just change your food, right? Because food impacts everything. So, standard diet, it's already the edge of danger, right? If you're doing a standard diet right now and you're watching this video, you are on the edge of danger. Do we actually understand that our body struggles when we have too much sugar in our blood system? And what's too much sugar? Like our body can manage 5 grams floating around in our blood at all times. Like that's what's supposed to be there. Not even that it manages. It does well with 5 grams. That's what's supposed to be there. But do we realize that 1 slice of bread is 12 grams of sugar? How often do you have 1 slice of bread? Typically we have 2 because we make sandwiches. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times we don't even have a slice of bread. We have buns and burger and all these, which is now you're going up to like more than 24. You're talking about 30 something when you do a bun. Grams of carbs, right? We are severely overeating the sugar every day because I didn't talk about what you put between those pieces of bread yet, right? We're just talking about the bun. It's so important to create a healthy relationship with food. And we don't have one. We have an addictive relationship with food, but we need to create a healthy relationship with food. And we need to understand that the healthy relationship we're trying to create today is still going to be based on that addictive way that we were interacting with food, because those feelings, we still have them. Those ideas, we still have them. We are still looking at food as a source of entertainment. And so even if I'm eating a healthy keto or carnivore lifestyle, I could still be overeating because I'm eating for fun rather than eating for fuel, right? And building blocks. And so in order to change this, and there's 3 things I want to talk about. Emotional eating is the first one because I feel like that's the place where we fall down the most. We don't track our meals, but we need to, because that's going to be the thing that's going to help us manage our emotional eating the best. Because every time I go to eat something, if I actually had to write it down, it would make me pause and think about, but why am I eating this? Am I actually hungry? Right? Because if I'm not actually hungry, but I'm about to put in here that I'm eating what am I putting in? Some nuts, some berries, what am I putting in here? That's not a meal. because if I was actually hungry, I should be eating a meal. I'm snacking. Why am I snacking? I'm snacking because we come from a history that says I should be eating somewhere between 6 to 8 times a day. Right? But is that actually healthy for us? Well, from what we've learned about insulin, every time you eat, your insulin goes up. Whether you eat something good or something, right? Every food source either gives a small rise like fat, a medium rise like proteins, or a very large rise like carbohydrates. So, my insulin is going up, and then it's going to, slowly taper back down until I eat again. So if I'm eating a snack between my meals, I'm raising my insulin for no reason, because I shouldn't be eating in there, because snacking is something that we've invented, right? Humans were never the ones that grazed. That was the cattle. That was, like the horses, that like these animals that eat vegetation mostly, they need to graze all day because they need to eat enough to build the gigantic bodies that they have. That was never our stories, wellness warriors. But somehow we got pulled into their story. We need to stop overeating, which means I'm going to suggest to you tracking, because when you track, the act of logging that I'm about to eat and I'm not hungry, even if it's bacon, if you're not hungry, why are you eating it? That's an opportunity for you to interrupt the bad behavior. Because the other problem that I will tell you that I see is on our keto carnivore lifestyle, there's a lot of people that are saying, yes, do keto or carnivore, and then in between your meals, have keto cookies and keto cakes and keto bombs and all these things that is snacking. I want us to be cautious of this because it's not helping your health. You can actually gain weight if you overeat fat. Overeat is overeat. So if you're eating too much of anything, you're going to have a problem. Let's put down these habits from the calories in, calories out world that don't serve us, because they serve who? Again, they serve food companies, right? Or they serve people who are trying to encourage you to make their recipes rather than do the thing that's healthier for you. The second problem that I want us to look at is metabolic syndrome as a whole. We need to understand what it is if we're going to make sure that our life and our health moves forward smoothly, right? We're not keeping track of our carbs. So we think that because I'm eating lower carbohydrate vegetables, I no longer have to track. But can I just point out that some of us are actually also eating keto treats, keto cookies, keto bombs, keto, all these things. So if I'm doing that, do I not see the problem that I'm creating for myself? Because, well, even if I was doing great on my meals, if I have these snacks and things in the middle, now how do I know I didn't put myself over? It's important to know how much carbohydrate is coming into your body every day, because 5 grams in the blood. Doctors believe we can manage 20 grams total for the day. Every single time that you get out of ketosis, you are harming your body every single time. So knowing how much carb is coming in matters, but can I take this a step further? So the doctors think 20, but what if you're like me and you can only manage 18, right? So how would I have figured that out if I wasn't tracking, right? My pain came back. I wasn't feeling good. How would I have figured it out if I wasn't tracking? You need to know what your number is, Wellness Warrior. We need to stop acting like because Mary can do something, then Violet can do it. It's not reality. And let me point something else out to you. Mary might be doing it and not telling you that her pain is back in her back or her ankle is hurting or whatever. Because just like food companies want to sell their thing, I see people who have, these recipe books that they're trying to. You need to decide for you. And I'm not saying don't buy a recipe book if you're the kind of person that needs a recipe book to cook. But what I'm saying is don't allow other people's numbers, other people's eating habits to be your eating habits if it's not working for you. You need to know. And the only way to know is to have tracked and to be tracking to be sure. I am how far into doing this and I still measure how much cream I put in my coffee. I know for a fact that even if I put, what's the math on that? Let's just say 4 times the amount of cream in my coffee, since most days I'm eating carnivore, it's impossible for me to go over. It's impossible. And yet I still measure and I still put the right amount. Why? Because that's what we're supposed to do. This isn't strictly about weight loss, Wellness Warrior. This is not just the number on the damn scale. This is your health that we're talking about. I'm so tired of seeing people I care about start keto and then give it away because it's fun to eat these things, because they don't understand that it's not because of fun you're eating it. There's an addiction happening that you're not acknowledging. Being in ketosis is actually the natural state of our body. Dr. Bickman pointed it out, that little babies are born into the world and they are in a ketogenic state. And that when they drink breast milk, they bang back into that ketogenic state. Like their body just starts producing ketones and doing. It's the natural state of our body. And when does it change? It changes when we start feeding them not what they're supposed to eat. So if keto, or ketosis, is the natural state of our body, that means it's a healthy state for your body to be in. That means we should be all aiming at this instead of playing with garbage. And I'm not saying we don't have metabolic flexibility, right? To manage those carb-heavy meals once in a while. That's not what I'm saying. But here's the problem. When you've got metabolic damage, you don't have metabolic flexibility. Can I say that again? When you have metabolic damage, you don't have metabolic flexibility. See, metabolically flexible people, when they eat something high in carbohydrate, they can easily get right back into a ketogenic state. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if they get kicked out, but I know that if they did get kicked out, they get back into it easily. When we get kicked out, we're out for days, Wellness Warrior. We don't have metabolic flexibility because metabolic flexibility is there to help us in times where we couldn't catch an animal. Can you imagine? You don't catch an animal and you can't eat and you absolutely cannot sustain yourself on anything else. So if you didn't catch an animal or some fish or some poultry of some kind, if you didn't catch something, then you have however long it would be. However much fat is on your body, that's how long you have to catch something. It wouldn't make sense, right? When there's trees all around us with leaves and fruit and things growing from the ground with leaves and fruit, that we could eat these things and just keep ourselves going. Well, I guess we could eat bugs. I mean, how hard is it to catch a bug, right? But how many bugs would I need to catch, right? To do the thing. But I guess we theoretically could eat bugs. But if it's easier to bulk up a teeny bit with a bit of carb and then go find the animal, which is what our ancestors did. Right? They were not eating fruits and vegetables daily. 100% they weren't doing that. Weekly, 100% they weren't doing that. They were doing it in season, in spurts. In season, in spurts. Because guess what? Even in seasons, the veg isn't ready to be eaten and sometimes makes you sick if you eat it before it's ready to be eaten. So they were not doing this all the time. That's why we had to be so good at catching things. We had to figure it out, right? Because if we didn't figure it out, we'd have been in trouble. Add to that when our ancestors were eating fruits and vegetables, they did not look anything like what we eat. They were nowhere as big. They were nowhere as sweet. It was not a treat to eat these things, right? It was, we eat it because we have to until we find something, because they didn't have the stuff that we created in our labs. So we need to get over this idea that fruits and vegetables are so healthy and so good for us. And no. Now, the other point that I want to talk about are cheat days. You choosing foods based on fun rather than how they're going to help the body. That makes no sense at all. Your body does not care about fun flavors. At all. At all. Your body cares about nutritional content. And I know for most of us in the, this Western world that we live in, we've never been that hungry to understand that when you really haven't gotten food, like really, you eat just about anything. In the that video that I showed a few months back, where the guy that was in Ansel Keys's semi-starvation diet talked about how he felt. And he was saying how when there was food, he did, like they were told them, oh, you're going to maybe get bored of the food because we're just going to give you 3 things on rotation. And he said when they were in the semi-starvation part of this and there was any food, it was a happy moment. That all they were thinking about was food. I want to eat, food. That's all they could put their mind around, because when you don't have food, when your body is struggling, you're going to eat whatever is given to you. Right? So if you decide to eat vegetation, you need to choose the low carb stuff, right? Because first of all, that's what's going to protect you from the extra carbs. But you also need to choose the low carb stuff that is nutrient dense if possible, because otherwise, why are you eating it? Why am I eating something that isn't giving my body a huge boost of nutrients? So the thing that comes to mind is salad, specifically iceberg lettuce, I should call it. That has nothing in it. It's just water. Like the nutrients are minuscule. But yet, when you go to a restaurant and order the healthy, low-calorie option, it's usually iceberg lettuce. And you're paying a premium to eat something that's giving you nothing. And so, when you think about it, I don't know how many of you have animals, but I have a lizard, and the one type of like leafy that they tell you never to give your lizard because there's no nutritional value is I want to keep on to call it salad lettuce, right? It's like there's no nutritional value. Do not give that to your lizard, but yet we give it to ourselves. Honestly, can we just pause and understand the ridiculousness of that? And we add to that even with the other veg that you're going to find that's more nutrient dense, okay, cool. Can we keep in mind any vegetation that you put on your plate is for fun? Any vegetation. That is the entertainment on your plate. The real food is the meat, which should be a regular cut of meat. That is where you're getting the building blocks for your body. And that is where you're getting the clean energy for your body. All the micronutrients, again, found in the animal. There is zero reason for us to eat carbohydrates because one other piece of the puzzle, because there are a lot of people who say, but we need sugar for our brain. Your body makes all the carbohydrates that your brain and the rest of your body will ever need. It knows how to do that. So every time that we're eating veg, we need to understand that's for fun. If we're eating between meals, we need to understand that's for fun. And then we need to understand that that's still part of our addictive behavior. We need to stop doing that. It's not healthy. Every day that you eat healthy is a day that you're trying to create a new pattern for yourself, right? And then when you turn around and allow yourself to eat garbage, you are starting over. Imagine all the work and energy and effort that you're putting in to do this good behavior, and then you start over. You're not letting yourself create this new habit that you say you want to create. Wellness warrior, what does that mean? Right? It takes anywhere from 21 to 90 days to create a new habit that's actually going to stick, right? That you're actually going to go forward with and stay with it. How many times we see people do these 30-day challenges? 30 days, right? And then you walk away and you don't do it anymore. And I point out, again, I did carnivore for 30 days. And by the time it was over, I was like, this feels good. So what did I do? I kept going. I did 60 days strict carnivore because it felt good. And then what did I do? Okay, I tried to bring some stuff back, and what did I see? It didn't feel good. So what am I down to right now in terms of how much carb I actually eat? I went from being a person that had carbohydrates on my plate every single day, to a person that has carbohydrate on my plate once to twice a week. And what is the carbohydrate that I have on my plate? It used to be broccoli and olives and salad and avocado. And as we move forward in time, broccoli fell away. Oh, cabbage used to be there too. That fell away. Now, what I have on my plate, mostly once in a while, a salad, and that's like maybe once every 2 weeks, and avocado. Even the olives fell away. Why am I telling you this? Eating carnivore for 30 days might not have kept my attention, but it did, right? Like the funny thing is, for me, I noticed the difference. Eating veg every day versus going to eating no veg every day. I saw the difference. I felt the difference. There was a difference. I said, let me do it for 60 days to see what's going to happen. And here we are years later, and I'm still only having veg once in a blue moon. Did I completely go carnivore? I didn't. I kept avocado. Why? It's the one thing that still tastes good to me. How long will avocados? By the way, let me add this to it. When do I have avocado? Usually I feel like I've become one of those people where they say, you know how they say, salad is the only reason to eat salad is a good way to get olive oil into your system. I feel like I'm that with avocado. Every time I eat avocados because I want something salty, and I don't like oversalting my meat. But I don't mind salting the heck out of avocado. Like Pat cannot eat avocado when I've salted it. He has to have his own. We do what helps us to feel good. And I know I need more salt for some reason. And avocado is a way for me to get it in. Right? If you want that new habit to stick, right? You need to find a way to make it stick. But if you're eating keto and then you allow a chocolate bar in, it's going to throw you off. You'll be chasing for days. You're going to be, right? You need to let yourself really see, what are the things that I'm doing that's still from my old life that's interfering with the goal that I tell myself I have for me, right? Because every single action you take matters. Consistency is the key when it comes to making new behaviors your new behaviors. If I want that to be who I am moving forward, I need to be consistent. I need to see that as the good thing for me to be doing. If I don't see that as the good thing for me to be doing, I'm not going to do it. And so therefore, I'll do it sometimes, but then still do the bad behavior other times because I'm not seeing that as actually the right thing to do. People always ask me like, oh, how come you always make it seem like people have to be perfect? I'm not saying that anybody needs to be perfect, but I think we can all agree that good behavior is good behavior, right? And when I do the wrong behavior, I know I did the wrong behavior. I'm not confused. I'm not sitting there saying, oh, but it's normal to make a mistake. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, and of course it's normal to make mistakes, but that's not what I say to myself when I do the wrong thing. What I say is I did the wrong thing, right? Maybe it was accidental. That could have been reality. I made a mistake. It could have been on purpose too. Regardless, I'm talking to myself honestly, realistically. I did the wrong thing. That's why that happened. And the only way for me to be better tomorrow is acknowledging that Violet took an action that was incorrect for the goal that she said she had for herself. You need to accept, acknowledge, be honest with yourself when you're doing things against your goal. Consistency is key to staying on the road to health. Now, if you're new to keto, recipes actually might be helpful, right? Because they give you ideas about the vegetables to cook and how to cook them and what spices and maybe you're not used to spices and a lot of people, again, we've grown up in this world of convenience where you take something from the freezer and put it in the oven or the microwave. Yeah, have a meal. And we haven't learned how to spice cook food from fresh. And so there's a lot of people, adults, that's how they cook. Freezer to oven, freezer to microwave. If you're one of those people, it's okay. This is the world we've grown up in, right? But you might need a cookbook to get yourself started, right? But I want us to consider that it's important not to fall into the trap of constantly searching for the next amazing recipe, the next new blah, blah. Yes, enjoy what you're eating, but try to keep it simple too. I feel like another mistake I watch people making is that they want their diet foods to be all these fun foods and something different every week. And I need 17, 14, 15 recipes. And then when they eventually cannot sustain this and go back to normal diet, what are you actually eating? Typically, it's the same 3 to 7 meals on rotation. So did I really need 15? No. What I've figured out is that I have about 4 meals on rotation. 4, maybe 5, if I count pork belly once in a blue moon. Right? But then everything else is in a blue moon. Right? Really I cannot remember the last time I made, for example, keto pizza. I know how to make it. I don't make it right now. It's not interesting to me. I think that we try to convince ourselves that we need all this variety because our addiction is in the back of our brain talking. And this is an excuse to keep eating the foods that we like and we know and are going to, right? And because when we're eating standard diet, when I was eating standard diet, my side dish was probably 75% of the time French fries. Where is the variety in that? I'm just changing the meat and French fries, French fries, French fries. No matter what restaurant I went to, if they had French fries on the menu, that was I was ordering as my side dish. French fries, French fries. So this variety that we keep telling us that we can't live without, we lived without it before we tried to do the healthy diet. Food is to nourish your body, right? Not to entertain you. Entertaining ourselves with food is what got us into this place where we're overweight and we're in pain and we're on the way to all these metabolic diseases, all these health problems. And if we want it to change, we need to change that. I need you to remember what your mom told you, okay? Back in the day when you were a little kid, when mom was saying, don't play with your food. No matter what the food companies tell you, you need to listen to mom, right? Because that's a bad idea to play with food. It's not an entertainment thing. It's a health thing. Now, I encourage you to join us over at wellnesssquat.org, where we talk about health and food and our disdain for the food companies, climbing, lots of fun stuff. So join me over there. And check the description. There's a video that I put down there for you guys. And at the end, talk to you very soon. Have a good rest of your day.